Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is Peter, aka Pad, Peter A. DeLuca. And if this is your first time hearing me, this is the 31 Days of Dread, an annual Dream Warriors podcast event. This is where we do one horror movie a day for the month of October. And right now, this is day 10, as I already said, and we're doing Body Melt. It's a Australian, almost like comedy, trauma influenced, Peter Jackson influenced, pre Lord of the Rings Peter Jackson influence, and it is bloody and gory, and it has a couple highlights. Look, we go towards the positive first with every single movie we do. We try to. Sometimes we don't, but we try to. But look, you already hear those scary sounds. You hear the music. So let's just get through that intro, and I'll be right back. Yeah, so it's super early in the morning here in Philadelphia, PA, Center City, coming to you from the Loft District. I've been up since it's about 7 o'clock a.m. right now. Been up since 2 a.m. Dallas and I have been rocking and rolling. Anyone out there that doesn't know Dallas, he's my cat. You can see him in Diamond Dallas Cat on Instagram, and also on the IG. You can find me at AKAPAD13, AKAPAD13 also on Facebook, and then just straight up AKAPAD on Snapchat and Twitter. And if we're still doing the website thing, the World Wide Web, akapad.com, and I'm just doing a lot of work for that. So one of my ideas that I'm working towards, and look, this is the issue with being a one-person band. I fight for time endlessly, but I wouldn't be able to search for anything on my website, and you can bring up what I've done of it. Meaning, if you search Wolverine, you can see all my Wolverine sketches and information about the X-Men movies that we've done here on Dream Warriors, and I want it all to populate and aggregate. So it's going to be amazing. I can't wait. And we always do morning coffee, and I'm just doing straight up iced coffee with Delight's Hershey Chocolate Crema. It's delicious, and I use these giant ice cubes. Giant cubes from these red silicone trays they're amazing because the melt rate, they don't water it down too much, but it keeps it cold. So throughout the morning, I've been doing a lot of things. Nothing out of the ordinary for that. Back and forth between like drawing and reading and researching, and even people that I know in Cali and overseas reaching out to me. So I'm even like talking to them sometimes via text message, sometimes it's a phone call. But I have Legend. Hey Dal, I have Legend playing because it's available on Stars. There's two versions of the movie Legend. One of them is like a director's cut with the Goldstein. Oh my god, brain fart. Classical score, and it's beautiful. And then there's the one that we're all familiar with, which is the theatrical release with the Tangerine Dream score, and it's a different cut of the movie, slightly different cut. And I love them both. This is one of those dual movies, as very common with Ridley Scott, that I love, but I love the Tangerine Dream music. I do prefer this one, but it just the point I'm getting at, I've been on the run. The last few days of the 31 Days of Dread. Yesterday, day 9, Funland. The day before that, Demon Wind. Day 7, Chopping Mall. So I spent like the last 3 days, and just and we'll say 4, because we'll put Body Melt into this category. It's these are movies that are like accomplishments because they got completed. Okay, They're accomplishments because they exist. Just having Legend run in the background while I'm buzzing all over the place, I'm sure frustrating the hell of my neighbors below me. Okay, it's it's uh it's pretty, like, it makes you really admire high level filmmaking. People that have resources and vision and make the sacrifices to put themselves in position to make a movie like Legend. And Legend too. The production for me is legendary. It was shot at Pinewood Studios in the UK. Burned down. The entire production burned down. Like, and look, and everyone kept going. No one slowed down, and here we go. We have probably one of Tom Cruise's best movies. I think we have Ridley Scott's best shot movie, period. I'm not really, again, for an indoor studio movie, which we'll be getting back to with our day 11, will be The Wolfman from the Universal Pictures. The Universal Monster Universe, we'll call it, or the pre-Dark Universe. Yeah, it's like, I don't know if a movie can get any better shot indoors than the movie Legend. Uh, every time I see it, I feel like a few years go by, and it just puts me back every single time. So we're talking about this Body Melt movie, and in the intro, I compared it to Peter Jackson and Trauma. Now, Peter Jackson's earlier work, uh, it was like schlock, special makeup, special effects, gross out horror. This is something that Trauma, the creators, the manufacturers of Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, Class of Nukem High, and The Toxic Avenger. Uh, it's amazing that he never made a movie with Trauma, or he doesn't seem to reference them a lot in interviews. But I do believe Trauma was even a huge influence on, uh, you know, Peter, before he got into traditional filmmaking or traditional linear storytelling with Lord of the Rings. And that went with the King Kong, and that weird one, that Bones one. I couldn't even finish watching that. That one was just bad. A Bag of Bones, I think, or some crap. That was a bad movie. That was even a weird run for Wahlberg, because Wahlberg did The Happening with M Night Shyamalan. He does Bag of Bones or whatever with Peter Jackson and Jackson. Another brain fart there. But yeah, and I don't know. Wahlberg just seemed to be making just really kind of hard to watch movies with some really talented filmmakers. Like Wahlberg just sometimes it's like he's blessed and he's like equally cursed. It's amazing. But yeah, so this Body Melt movie, the influences are clear. It's a Australian film made. It's a state produced movie essentially. The writer director, okay, and I'm sure like driving force, Philip Brophy. I wanted to see if he was on Twitter. So this is based on like 3 or 4 short stories of his that he merged together, and I love the title of this movie. I completely in love with it, and they loosely explain the title. So the plot. Okay, so the plot is part of the problem when it just comes with following this movie. We have an evil corporation, and within that corporation, we have a corrupted doctor. So those are 2 threads. And they are openly experimenting on people on this mutagen powder, this chemical. and they're giving it out to people. They're distributing it to a neighborhood, and they're seeing what happens. So here we go. Let's set up the title. So when people start to ingest this mutagen chemical, which is kind of given to them in packets, they mix it with water. So I guess it's maybe not a chemical substance. We'll say powder. Phase 1 is hallucinogenic. I'm forgetting it. Wait, hold up. Here, does Wikipedia tell you it? Oh my God, this is okay. So there's 3 phases you go through when you digest these, this substance. Okay, so you hallucinate. It's almost like Wolf of Wall Street when he goes through his phases of the of the quaaludes. You hallucinate, and then something, and then there's body melt. Okay, and that's where your body just erupts. So we kind of have like these neighbors, and we kind of start going through the neighbors one by one. So the story follows you through some of the neighbors, and then there's like a detective, and we're kind of with the detective, but we're kind of not. Like, he's asking questions, but nothing's really like happening. And that's really the big break, because we kind of have these major storylines. The one from the corporate angle is the most interesting, and that's one we're getting the least of. And then we're getting to know some of the other characters that either encounter people who are corrupted by the chemical, or people who are, about to explode from the chemical. So the plot's a little bit weak. The explanations aren't really crazy. I don't think there's much nuance to the actual story. But this was another one where I thoroughly enjoyed this movie on a high level, because it's well acted, it's well shot. The ideas are clear. What Philip was trying to achieve, is what he's reaching for. But the movie's also shot in there's parts of, there's all these fun influences. So the year this movie came out, it's 1993, and what we even have too, the neighborhood is somewhat of a Tim Burton, Edward Scissorhands perfect type neighborhood. And we have quirky neighbors, and these are all things that are familiar, and they're abstractions, and they're just perfectly well done. So we kind of know the way that they're introduced, that these people are going to go down one by one. And based on the beginning of this movie, which is kind of it opens very it definitely points to the fences and starts swinging like Babe Ruth. This movie has balls. It's got guts. There's a gravitas to it, and that's the trauma side. But it's a topless woman with a guy, and she, they obviously just got done having sex. Her body is looking amazing, and she's using him as a test subject. We find out that she's the one running the corporation, and then or she's running this side of the corporation, we'll say. And then, we cut to this computer program that brings us into the neighborhood, and it goes through the neighbors. And then it goes into the mailbox, and here we go. It reveals that this guy got these packets delivered to him. And he starts, taking the vitamin or whatever. So it's a good beginning. There's a car chase. We see the effects of the, of the mutation early. So there's a smart gap, between the next time we see the mutation, because again, like I think Philip here is being calculating on building tension for the next reveal, and then ending the movie with a series of these mutations. And like that's even done well. So what's really wrong with this movie? I think this movie is great to watch. It's great to see like what they came up with. It's just fun. There's part like John Carpenter's The Thing in this too, and just the way the people look. But there was also a time in like the early to mid '90s where like all these gross out type horror movies, Reanimator, they all like all the effects look the same way. Okay, they kind of all, if they're done at high level, they all look like that they're done from the same like studio. So with all of that, what takes you out of the movie is it's the difficulty of following the stakes and where exactly the characters are and where you should be as an audience member. I mean, I really hate to to kind of not go into detail about the plot. I would probably have to watch this movie a few times to get the breaks of the plot and where things potentially should have went. Not inventing a new storyline, but like you can kind of tell. You say, look, we needed to know this here. A lot of times it's lack of exposition. Like that's what people knock exposition, but even a movie that kills you with exposition, you at least understand where you are within the movie. And I don't knock it. A lot of people, a lot of critics or wannabe these YouTubers, they kind of flip out if there's too much exposition. But no, like, geez, this movie. Let me let me tell you, okay. There was a pregnancy scene where a woman's having a baby, and she's being mutated, and the fetus jumps out of the woman's stomach, kills the husband, crawls into his throat, and then like the woman dies. And it is crazy. It's awesome. There's a woman whose tongue just enlarges and chokes and kills her in like a doctor's office. That's fun. There's multiple melting deaths in this movie, and that's all you kind of have to hear, isn't it? How many melting deaths are in my movie? This movie's called Body Melt, and it delivers. 100% it delivers. And it's great. That's what I mean about it. It's fun to watch. It's gruesome. It's gory, but it's just like goofy. It is a trauma movie. It's amazing that this guy didn't do more, and that was a little bit of the upsetting. Because I try and do a little bit of research before, like I sit down. The 31 Days of Dread is so quick and grinding that research is limited. Research is tough. But I will say this: this guy should have kept making movies, because my research indicates that he like this was it. Like he kind of did short films and then kind of busted a nut with this movie and like moved on. I don't know what he's doing, but this guy obviously had vision. He had talent. I don't know. I don't know how Lloyd Kaufman doesn't hire this guy like right away. Like he's the one that showed the Poltergeist or Poultrygeist, the haunted chicken movie, where a guy gets killed by a haunted chicken egg in that one. But no, I don't know. Like that was like the most disappointing aspect of learning about this movie. So where is this movie? How can you watch it? Why did I choose it? It's on Amazon Prime. I was scrolling through and I saw director's cut. So this is the director's cut version of this movie, and it just like there was like a spark that went off, because yeah, director's cut, as we were speaking earlier about Legend. Usually, like, good movies have multiple versions for some reason. Um, and, like, that intrigued me, so I just put it on real quick, and the first 5 minutes captured me, and that was it. And that's a lot. Like, when it comes to things you hear about movie producers and executives, like, that's how they choose talent. Like, there's one of the things you always hear, that they watch something for 5 to 7 minutes, and if it doesn't capture them, they're moving on, because they don't have time to sit down and watch a entire movie. Maybe they would if they were doing the 31 Days of Dread, but no. Yeah, but with that being said, okay, and to wrap this up real quick, you have to see this movie. It's hard to describe it. It's got an easy plot. It's over the top. There's vision to it. There's lots of bodybuilders. The chick from the beginning has nothing but like bodybuilders working for her. Love that touch. And it kind of makes a commentary on that lifestyle also. And I guess maybe that's for some of the satire. It is somewhat mocking suburban life. Maybe. I don't know. Like, it really doesn't come through too well. But this movie deserves your attention. It deserves a watch. And it's available right now on Amazon Prime. Thank you, Amazon. And again, I'm sure this movie's a little bit tough to get a good copy of for home, meaning a VHS or DVD. I'm sure if you buy a DVD, it's a transfer from some VHS. But anyway, check it out. Do something cool today. You know what? Do something unexpected. Go to a like a 7-Eleven or like a convenience store and buy a new drink. Buy a new flavor, and just go for it. Spend that $2. If you don't like grape, get something grape and give it a shot. Open yourself up. Do that for me. I love you. Rock and roll. Until next time. Until day 11. Well, we're at day 11. The Wolfman. Look forward. I'll talk to you.